There is a moment, a sacred turning point, when the universe begins to rearrange itself on your behalf. You may not see the signs with your eyes, but your spirit feels them. A deep shift, a quiet stirring, an undeniable knowing that something vast, something extraordinary, is moving toward you. Whenever a great blessing is about to enter your life, God first awakens your inner world. He prepares your subconscious mind to receive what your conscious mind cannot yet imagine. The old doors begin to close, not to punish you, but to position you. Delays appear not as obstacles, but as divine timing, aligning perfectly for your breakthrough. You are not here by accident. You are being prepared for something bigger than your past, larger than your fears, greater than anything you have lost. When God is about to give you something big, He shakes loose everything that is too small for your destiny. He detaches you from what limits you, so you can rise into what belongs to you. Feel it now. A new energy is forming. A new path is opening. A new chapter is calling your name. You are stepping into a season where the impossible becomes possible, where the unseen becomes seen, where the divine plan hidden within you finally reveals its light. This is your moment. This is your elevation. This is the hour when God gives you more than you asked, faster than you expected, and greater than you believed. Prepare your mind. Open your heart. Something big is coming, and it's coming for you. God enlarges your inner vision before He enlarges your life. This is a spiritual law, a subconscious law, and a divine pattern that unfolds in every person who is being prepared for something greater. Nothing enters your external world until it is first conceived, nurtured, and accepted within the realm of your inner mind. The seeds of destiny must take root in the soil of imagination before they appear in the landscape of experience. When God is preparing you for something big, He begins not by changing your circumstances, but by expanding your capacity to see, believe, and receive. Your inner vision is the blueprint of everything that will unfold in your life. It determines what you expect, what you allow, and what you attract. When God wants to elevate you, He first stretches this blueprint. He widens your concept of what is possible. He removes the small, restrictive ideas you once held about who you are and what you deserve. You may feel this shift as a discontent with old patterns, a desire for more, or a sudden sense that you are meant for something bigger. This feeling is not random, it is divine preparation. God is enlarging the picture inside you so your life can rise to match it. There are moments when this inner expansion feels uncomfortable. You may feel tension between where you are and where you sense you are being pulled. This tension is the spiritual stretching of the mind. It is God lifting you out of old limitations and old identities. The subconscious mind resists at first, because it is familiar with the old ways. But God gently continues to impress greater possibilities upon it. He places new ideas, new dreams, and new desires in your heart. He whispers thoughts of abundance, healing, success, and purpose. These impressions come as intuition, inspiration, imagination, or sudden clarity. They are all signs that your inner vision is growing. As your inner vision expands, your belief grows with it. Belief is the power that activates the subconscious mind. It is the force that draws to you the conditions, people, and opportunities that align with the new image you carry within. When God gives you a bigger inner picture, He also strengthens the conviction to match it. You begin to see opportunities where there were none. You begin to expect good where you used to expect fear. You begin to feel guided, supported, and aligned. This shift is not psychological only, it is spiritual. It is the divine working in silence to prepare you for the blessing you are destined to receive. Many people wait for life to change before they believe something bigger is possible. But in spiritual truth, life changes times after times you believe. God must first expand your inner world so that your outer world can follow. If He were to give you a blessing larger than your mindset, you wouldn't recognize it, hold it, or grow into it. The inner expansion is protection as well as preparation. It builds the strength, wisdom, and awareness needed to sustain what is coming. When God enlarges your inner vision, He shifts your identity. You begin to see yourself as capable, worthy, chosen, and guided. You begin to detach from past disappointments because your new inner vision is stronger than old memories. You stop asking, "How will it happen?" and begin to say, "I know it's happening." This inner knowing is the true signal that your life is about to elevate. Everything in creation begins with thought, and every divine breakthrough begins with inner vision. The moment God expands your vision, He has already begun enlarging your life. Your task is simple. Accept the greater idea, dwell on it, nurture it, and believe that it is already unfolding. Because once the inner vision is born, the outer blessing is inevitable. When old doors close to prepare you for divine elevation, it is one of the clearest signs that God is moving in your life. These closures are not punishments, nor are they signs of failure or rejection. They are part of a higher orchestration that shifts you from where you have been to where you are destined to go. Every door that shuts is a message from the infinite saying, "This chapter has served its purpose. You have outgrown this space. Something greater awaits you." The human mind often clings to the familiar, but the divine mind leads you toward growth, expansion, and transformation. And growth rarely begins in comfort. It begins in disruption. When God is preparing you for elevation, He removes the options that keep you playing small. The doors you relied on may close suddenly. Opportunities you hoped for might fall apart without explanation. People you expected to stay may walk out unexpectedly. It can feel confusing, disorienting, or even unfair. But beneath the surface, a higher wisdom is working. God will not allow you to settle in a space that cannot hold the magnitude of what He intends to give you. If the door stayed open, you would remain there, unaware that something bigger, richer, and more aligned is waiting just ahead. A closed door is often a divine redirection. It is God gently nudging you to look beyond what you've known and step toward what you're meant to discover. This redirection may not feel gentle in the moment, but spiritually it is a precise and intentional act of protection. There are places where your spirit cannot grow, relationships that limit your calling, and pathways that lead you away from your purpose. When these begin to collapse or fade away, it is not destruction, it is preservation. God closes doors to prevent you from being trapped in environments too small for your destiny. Sometimes the divine blocks what you want because it would have delayed what you need. You may have prayed for something good, but God prepares you for something greater. You might have wanted stability, but God is preparing you for abundance. You might have wanted acceptance, but God is preparing you for influence. You might have wanted comfort, but God is preparing you for calling. Closed doors make space for these higher gifts to enter your life. In the moment of transition, you might feel loss, but in spiritual truth, nothing real is ever lost. Anything removed from your life is replaced by something more aligned with your next level. The universe abhors a vacuum. When God removes what no longer serves your growth, He is required by His own laws to fill that space with something more fitting. Your role is to trust the process, even when the process feels like separation. Trust that every ending is a beginning in disguise. Trust that what feels like rejection is often divine protection. Trust that the door closing in front of you is guiding you toward a greater one opening just ahead. While the door is closing, something important is happening inside you. You are being strengthened. Your faith is being stretched, your awareness is expanding, you are learning to detach from what limits you. You begin to realize that your worth is not determined by what leaves your life. Instead, your worth determines what enters your life. This shift in identity is part of your elevation. You stop chasing after closed doors and start preparing for open gates. Divine elevation has a pattern: separation, preparation, manifestation. The closure is not the end, it is the beginning of alignment. Once the old doors close, new ones will not only open, they will welcome you. What God has prepared for you is already in motion, already designed, already waiting. And every closed door is simply the turning of the page toward the life you were meant to live. Your subconscious mind receives the blessing before your hands do. This is one of the most profound spiritual truths that governs transformation, manifestation, and divine timing. Everything that comes into your physical experience is first accepted, impressed, and formed in the invisible realm of your inner mind. Long before you see the blessing, long before you touch it, long before it shows up in your circumstances, it has already begun to take shape deep within your subconscious. The subconscious mind is the spiritual workshop where thoughts become form, where ideas become experiences, and where divine guidance takes root before it becomes visible. When God is preparing you for something big, He plants the seed in your subconscious long before the harvest arrives in your life. You may start to feel a new desire rising inside you, a thought that keeps returning, a vision of something greater calling you forward. You may sense a shift in your energy, a pull toward new possibilities, or a quiet confidence that something good is on its way. This inner stirring is not imagination alone, it's spiritual conception. God places the idea in your subconscious first because that is where faith, acceptance, and alignment are born. Your subconscious mind is always listening, always absorbing, always shaping your future based on what you impress upon it. When God begins to move in your life, He influences your inner state. Your thoughts become more hopeful, your intuition becomes stronger, your imagination becomes clearer. You start to think differently about yourself and your potential. You begin to detach from old fears, old patterns, and old limitations. This inner shift is the first sign that the blessing has already arrived spiritually, even if it has not yet appeared physically. The subconscious receives what the conscious mind does not yet fully understand. Many people expect external change before they allow internal change. But spiritual law works in the opposite direction. You must times feel, times blessed, before you are blessed. You must times see times the outcome within before you see it without. You must times accept times the new reality in your subconscious before it becomes your experience. This is why silence, prayer, imagination, meditation, and reflection are powerful tools, because they help you impress the right images upon the mind where your destiny is shaped. God knows that your subconscious must be prepared to hold the blessing. If the blessing arrives before the inner foundation is ready, it will slip away, be misused, or become overwhelming. So He begins by strengthening your inner world. He gives you dreams that stretch your vision. He gives you peace that stabilizes your emotions. He gives you clarity that refines your decisions. He gives you a sense of expectation that lifts you above doubt. All of these inner qualities take form inside your subconscious before the outer blessing manifests. Sometimes you will feel the blessing coming even when your life does not yet show evidence of it. You may sense abundance while still facing lack. You may feel healing even while symptoms persist. You may feel progress even when circumstances seem unchanged. This is because your subconscious has already accepted the new reality. Once the subconscious locks onto a truth, the external world must eventually align with it, for the outer world is only a reflection of the inner one. When your subconscious receives the blessing, your behavior begins to shift naturally. You speak differently, You walk differently. You make decisions from a place of confidence. You no longer cling to the past because the future feels more real inside you. This inner certainty is the spiritual confirmation that the blessing has already been conceived. Manifestation is no longer a matter of times. If times, it becomes a matter of times when. Asterisk. Every blessing begins this way. First in the unseen, then in the seen. First in the subconscious, then in the physical. The moment your inner mind accepts the blessing, your life begins to move toward it. And nothing on earth can stop what God has already established within you. When pressure enters your life, it is not a sign of collapse, but a powerful indication that something big is forming beneath the surface. Pressure is the spiritual tension that appears when the old version of you can no longer contain the magnitude of what is coming. It is the stretching of your faith, the strengthening of your spirit, and the reshaping of your inner world to prepare you for a larger blessing. Many people misinterpret pressure as a setback, but in truth, it is one of the clearest signals that divine expansion is happening. Before every major breakthrough, there is always a period where life seems to tighten, where challenges intensify, and where the weight of transition feels heavier than usual. This is not punishment, it is preparation. Pressure appears when the subconscious is trying to release old patterns that can no longer support your next level. It exposes limiting beliefs, weak foundations, old habits, and hidden fears, not to break you, but to free you. You cannot carry small ideas into a big destiny. You cannot hold on to fear while stepping into abundance. You cannot cling to the familiar while reaching for something extraordinary. Pressure forces you to confront the thoughts and emotions that have kept you confined. It brings to the surface everything that must be transformed before the blessing can arrive in full. There is a spiritual reason why pressure appears before manifestation. The blessing that is forming requires a stronger version of you. It requires emotional resilience, deeper faith, and a clearer sense of identity. God uses pressure to shape these qualities within you. It is like a refining fire not meant to burn you, but to purify you. Gold does not shine until it is placed under heat. Diamonds are not formed until they endure intense pressure. And destinies are not fulfilled until the soul passes through seasons of stretching. What feels uncomfortable now is actually the crafting of a powerful, elevated version of you. Pressure also rearranges your priorities. It forces you to release distractions, break unhealthy patterns, and step away from environments that drain your energy. It draws your attention inward, where answers, strength, and guidance reside. In moments of pressure, you begin to pray more earnestly, listen more closely, and trust more deeply. You stop relying solely on your own strength and begin relying on divine support. This shift in dependence is crucial because the blessing coming your way will require partnership with the divine, not just human effort. Pressure pushes you toward that alignment. Often, pressure comes right before a major shift. When life feels tightest, when options seem limited, when solutions appear distant, that is the moment when the unseen is working most intensely in your favor. The spiritual world is rearranging circumstances, opening invisible doors, and preparing paths that your eyes have not yet seen. This tightening phase is like the final stretch before birth. The contractions increase because the arrival is near. The discomfort is not a sign that nothing is happening, it is evidence that everything is happening. Pressure is also a signal that your spirit is outgrowing your current environment. You may feel restless, dissatisfied, or eager for change without knowing why. This inner discomfort is a message from God saying, "You were not meant to stay here, you were meant to rise." The pressure pushes you forward, nudging you to step into the unknown with faith, trusting that what lies ahead is far greater than what lies behind. When pressure appears in your life, view it as confirmation that something big is on its way. It is the spiritual contraction before expansion, the tension before release, the discomfort before elevation. You are being prepared, strengthened, refined, and positioned. What feels heavy now is shaping you for what will soon feel miraculous. Pressure is not your enemy. It is the final signal that the blessing is almost here. What leaves your life makes room for what's meant for you. This truth is woven into every spiritual law of growth and transformation. Nothing disappears by accident. Nothing ends without purpose. When something or someone exits your life, whether suddenly, gradually, or painfully, it is not a sign of loss, but a sign of divine rearrangement. God removes what no longer aligns with your next level, even when you don't yet see where you're going. What leaves is not meant to limit you, it is meant to free space for the greater blessing that is approaching. Human beings often cling to the familiar because it feels safe. Even when situations are draining, relationships are stagnant, or environments no longer support growth, the mind becomes attached to what it knows. But the divine sees beyond your present comfort. God knows what is too small for your destiny. He knows what hinders your purpose. He knows what belongs in your future and what cannot travel with you. So when something leaves your life, it is not an accident, it is divine editing. It is the universe clearing out what would block the greater good that has been prepared for you. Sometimes the removal feels gentle, like a season naturally ending. Other times it feels abrupt and painful, like something being torn away. But in both cases, the purpose is the same. Space must be created. A heart filled with what is wrong cannot receive what is right. A life crowded with the old cannot welcome the new. A mind attached to outdated patterns cannot hold new visions. When God wants to bless you, He first clears your hands. It is important to trust the process when something exits your life. Trust that if it was still meant for you, it would remain. Trust that if it was aligned with your purpose, it would not fade. Trust that nothing truly yours can ever be taken away. What left only did so because your spirit outgrew it, because your calling rose above it, because your future required something different. Often, after something leaves, there is a space of silence or emptiness. This space is not a void, it is divine preparation. It is the spiritual ground where new growth will appear. Do not rush to fill the space with substitutes or temporary comforts. Leave room for what God is preparing. Leave room for what truly aligns. Leave room for the blessing that will not disappoint you. You may not always understand why something left, but clarity always comes later, when you step into the blessing that needed room to enter. Then you see why the old had to go. Then you realize what you thought was a loss was actually a rescue. What felt like rejection was divine redirection, and what seemed like an ending was simply the opening for something better. When things leave your life, don't chase them. Bless them. Release them. Trust that the universe is clearing the path. Because what's meant for you, your real relationships, your real opportunities, your real destiny, will never require you to shrink, suffer, or struggle to keep it. What leaves makes space for what's meant. And what's meant for you will always find its way. Expectation activates the miracle already on its way. This is one of the most powerful spiritual truths, because expectation is not merely hope, it is a magnetic force that aligns your inner world with the blessing prepared for you. When you expect something good, you give your subconscious mind a command. You instruct it to move in the direction of possibility, not fear. You tell it to prepare, to open, to receive. Expectation is the spiritual bridge between the unseen and the seen, the faith-filled posture that allows miracles to find you. Many people pray for blessings but continue expecting disappointment. They speak good words but carry fearful images in their minds. They desire change but mentally rehearse everything that could go wrong. This kind of divided belief blocks blessings because the subconscious cannot act on doubt. But when your expectation matches your desire, when you genuinely believe something good is coming, your inner and outer worlds begin to align. Your thoughts, emotions, actions, and decisions all move in harmony toward the very outcome you expect. Expectation is the energy that unlocks divine timing. It signals to God, to the universe, and to your own subconscious mind that you are ready. A person who expects a miracle prepares for it. They walk differently. They speak differently. They make room for the blessing before the blessing arrives. They don't wait to see evidence. They become the evidence through their faith-filled posture. Expectation turns waiting into preparation. It transforms uncertainty into confidence. It shifts your mindset from "will it happen" to "it's already happening." When you expect a miracle, you begin noticing signs and opportunities you once overlooked. Your awareness sharpens. You become sensitive to guidance. You take inspired action. You follow intuition without hesitation. This is because expectation opens your spiritual eyes. It tunes your inner senses to the movements of the divine. You suddenly recognize connections, insights, and synchronicities that were always there, but invisible without the lens of faith. Expectation also protects your mind from negativity. It becomes a shield that blocks discouragement and fear. When challenges arise, you don't see them as endings, you see them as transitions. You interpret delays not as denials, but as divine preparation. You hold on to your faith because you know the miracle is already in motion, even if unseen. This mindset keeps you emotionally steady and spiritually grounded. There is a reason why people who expect good receive more good. Expectation raises your vibration. It places you on the frequency of abundance, breakthrough, and divine alignment. It calls in what belongs to you. It makes you a match for the blessing. God responds to expectation because expectation is the language of faith. It is your way of saying, "I trust you. I believe in what you are doing. I know something great is already on the way." When your expectation becomes stronger than your fear, the miracle accelerates. Doors open faster, opportunities flow easier, solutions appear effortlessly. And when the blessing arrives, it often exceeds what you imagined, because expectation not only welcomes the miracle, it multiplies it. The moment you expect the miracle begins to manifest. As we come to the end of this message, remember this truth. When God is preparing you for something big, He always begins within. He enlarges your inner vision before He enlarges your life. He closes old doors not to diminish you, but to elevate you. He plants the blessing in your subconscious long before it appears in your hands. He uses pressure not to break you, but to shape you for what is coming. He removes what no longer belongs so that what is meant for you can finally enter. And He activates miracles the moment you begin to expect them. Everything you are experiencing right now, every shift, every change, every ending, every stirring, is part of a divine arrangement guiding you toward a greater destiny. Nothing is random. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is happening against you. You are being prepared, positioned, and aligned with something far bigger than your present moment. Hold this truth close. The universe responds to a mind filled with faith. Your subconscious responds to the images you nourish. God responds to expectation, gratitude, and belief. So lift your consciousness, enlarge your inner vision, trust the doors that close, embrace the pressure that grows you, release what must leave, and stand with bold expectation, knowing that the miracle is already on its way. Your life is not shrinking, it is expanding. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. You are not losing, you are making room. Right now, in the unseen, the blessing with your name on it is moving closer, shaped by divine wisdom, guided by perfect timing.